Hey everyone, Mrs. Heupel here with a quick review on how to do one-step algebraic equations. So remember that our job when we're doing solving algebraic equations is to eliminate that variable. We don't want the variable. The variable is the letter, right? But as an 8th grader we say variable. And so I need to do the opposite operation, right? The inverse operation to get rid of everything that's on the side of the variable so that I'm only left with the variable, right? So I'm going to look, it says x plus 15 equals 27. I'm going to work on the side of the x. You can put your little squiggly line there if that helps you keep track of things. So I'm looking with the x, I'm adding 15. So you need to think, what is the inverse operation of adding 15? Yeah, subtracting 15. And remember when you're solving algebraic equations that you have to be fair. So whatever you do to the one side, you have to do to the other side. So if I'm subtracting 15 from this side, I have to subtract 15 from this side. I have to be fair. Remember, it wouldn't be fair if your mom and dad gave your brother 50 bucks, 15 chocolate bars, and a new car, and you came home and you had to mow the lawn, right? That's just not fair. Math has to be fair. So my minus 15 and my plus 15, they cancel each other out. So the only thing I'm left with on this side is my variable. So I can bring it down. I still have my equal sign. And then I have to figure out what 27 minus 15 is. You can do it on your paper. You can do it on a calculator. You cannot do it in your head. So I have 27 minus 15. 7 minus 5 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So my answer is x equals 12. Now, I may have another type of equation where I'm subtracting. So I got to get an eraser. Hold on a second. That's called bad planning. If I would have planned ahead, I would have had my eraser, but I don't want to do the video over again. So you got a little intermission. Let's try this. If I have a subtraction equation, it's really going to be the same thing. I'm going to do the inverse operation. So let's do this. Let's do x minus 92 equals 15. And the rules are the same. That's the cool thing about solving algebraic equations. I have to be fair, and I'm going to do the inverse operations, and I'm going to start on the side of the variable. Here's the side of the variable. I have an x. I'm going to look, I'm subtracting 92, right? Subtracting 92. So I think of the inverse operation. The opposite of subtracting 92 is what? Adding 92. That is a very ugly 9. I apologize. That's a little better. If I'm going to add 92 here, I'm going to add 92 here, right? I have to remember to cancel things out. If I'm subtracting 92 and then I'm adding 92 back in, that cancels each other out. The only thing I'm left with on that side is the x. And then you can figure it out with a calculator. You can figure it out on a paper. You cannot figure it out in your head, right? We're going to write it out. 5 plus 2 is 7. 1 plus 9 is 10. So x equals 107. Let's do 2 more examples. I can also solve a multiplication equation. 20x equals 10. Again, cool thing, same rules, right? I have to be fair. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. And I'm also going to do the inverse operation. I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm multiplying 20 times something, right? What's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. So I'm going to divide by 20. If I'm multiplying by 20, I'm dividing by 20. And remember, in middle school math, we don't use the division sign anymore. We use a fraction sign. So divide by 20. If I divide by 20 on this side, I divide by 20 on this side. All right? So these cancel each other out. X equals, and I can do it on paper, or I can use the calculator, but I do not do it in my head, right? So let's go ahead and figure that out. I have 10 divided by 20, and I know that 20 is too big to go into 10, so now I have to go back to my 5th grade math skills, add a decimal, add a 0. Bring your decimal up to the top. Now, how many times does 20 go into 100? It's 5. Okay? So my answer is 5/10, 0.5. So x equals 0.5. Let's do one more example. Let's do a little division example. I'm not going to lie, the division equations look a little scary, but they're not. All right? So let's do 15. Let's change that. Let's do x divided by 15 equals 3. All right? So it's the same rules. Even though it looks a little scary, it's not. It's the same rules. Whatever I do to the right side, I do to the left side, and I do it by doing the opposite operations, right? So the opposite of dividing by 15 is multiplying by 15. Multiplying by 15. All right, so we're going to multiply by 15 here, all right? And if I multiply by 15 over here, I multiply by 15 here, all right? I'm going to cancel out. Dividing by 15 and multiplying by 15 cancel each other out, and then I'm just left with the x. And then I have to figure out 3 times 15. You can do it on paper. You can do it on calculator. You don't do it in your head. So let's figure it out. 15 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. X equals 45. So there's your little review for how to solve one-step algebraic equations. Good luck on your module. Let me know if you have any questions.